That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a f***ing toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
Internet sucks. What is going on, OneCast fans? Welcome back to the OneCast Fishing Friday Live. Our internet's a little bit in and out. We got windstorm. There's a really bad thunderstorm south of us. So it's we're getting some wind, so it may be a little bit sketchy here, but we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep talking. As always, make sure you head to onecastfishing.com, use the code the OneCast to check out. Nope, don't turn me down. You can't hear my voice. You literally just took me off. That controls the voice, not the volume of the earphones. Volume of the earphones are over there. Trey forgets how to do his only job. So make sure you head to onecastfishing.com.
I get and keep going. There we're at. That's good. And I gave a thumbs up because your voice went down. I was like, oh, he's got it right. No,
he turned me down, so I probably was whispering to folks. But onecastfishing.com, use the code the OneCast to check out. Save 10% off your snagless jigs, long neck hooks, soft plastics, weedless nets, all of that good product. If you haven't got your Hobie eyewear yet, the link is in our description on everything. I'll post it up in the chat here in a second. The link tree, make sure you go there. You can save 15% off. That takes those glasses down to about $85. The floating frames are worth every penny. Trey tried to lose a pair at Gaston last week. We'll talk about that when we go into our tournament recap from that one. But yeah, make sure you check out Hobie Eyewear. Also, the Sightmaster lenses are legit. I'm not going to say where we were fishing, but we were fishing the other day. If you're in the North Carolina area, you know, the conditions weren't the best for sight fishing, but I had no problem bed fishing with those Sightmaster glasses. They do a really good job of picking up that ambient light and still letting you cut down the glare and see even when you don't have sunshine and good conditions for that. So make sure you check out Hobie Eyewear. Use the link, which I'm going to post here in a minute as soon as I can. And also, you want to do Eric? Or so wait, before we do Eric,
hold on.
Okay, good.
I want to shout our boys out, Nick Kincaid, Mike Nadeau, for taking home the W at Lake Gaston. And you know, Nick is a huge, he's one of the major parts of Carolina Waters, carolinawatersnc.com. Head over there, use the code the OneCast. You're going to save a lot of money at checkout. And those boys brought home the W this past weekend, or 2 weekends ago, rather. They got you covered, man. They got you covered for hats, UPF gear. They got some new things coming. They got their hoodies that we showed off last year. I think it was January, or I guess it would have been this year. But head on over there, support small businesses that support this show. Those guys have been super awesome. We love their apparel. I'm a hot mess right now because I just got done mowing and grilling food for the family, so I'm not wearing anything that's really cool. But carolinawatersnc.com, use the code the OneCast. And then hit our buddy Eric Schwind up. If you guys are in the market for a piece of property, you're looking for either something that has a home on it or you're trying to purchase a piece of land. Eric's been serving the Sandhills region for a long time. Eric is an active duty military member. So we support our veteran community 100%. You can hit him up at 936-494-9686 or shoot him an email at eschwind@mossyoakproperties.com. He's got tons of land, everything you guys are looking for. So shoot him a text, shoot him a call, or shoot him an email.
I think he's going to join us on our next Fishing Friday, which won't be next Friday.
Yeah, it won't be next Friday, but
we have pre-tournament meetings and stuff for Jordan Lake on the 20th with Fishers and Men. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, to mirror you, Nick and Nick Kincaid, who is Nick Kincaid Fishing. He's been commenting. He's been a friend of the show, and he's been on the show and talked about fishing the Toyo as a co-angler. Him and Mike Nadeau.
Oh yeah, I said Nadeau.
I say it different every time because it gets people going. Yeah, they smashed them. So everybody else kind of struggled. They figured something out, and when it's your time, man. It was like not even 60-degree water, and Mikey smashed a big one on a buzzbait first thing in the morning, which probably isn't what most folks would throw, but it worked. And yeah, you always hear when it's meant to be, and it was definitely meant to be for them. They put on a clinic. So congrats to those guys. Congrats to us. We cashed another check.
That's right.
Got some good points. So Gaston was it was a grinder. I know that's cliche, but it really was. Fish were setting up, getting ready to spawn, and then we got hit with a massive cold front. We went from like 70, 50s to 30s, 30, 60s. Like I think 60 was the high the day of the tournament. What's going on, Dan? What's going on, Nick? Again, you guys definitely had a fun day. Cody Baylor said he confirmed the thunderstorm was going on. Cody, there's 2 more whose names I can't see. I'm gonna assume that's David Fuchs and probably Brad Terry, but if I'm wrong, I apologize for that.
Chastise him.
I'll have to pull the feed up on my phone so I can see who it is. One of these days, I'll remember to post the instructions on how you can get your name to show up to us, but I keep forgetting to do that. So, what's going on, Rodney? Glad to see you here, bud. Independence, Missouri. So we got South Carolina, Missouri, North Carolina in the house. Pennsylvania in the house with my old man sitting here. He's not going to talk, but he's hanging out.
He's like no necking it. Just
yeah, he's just chilling, trying to read comments. He didn't have his readers
He can
on.
talk. He can talk. The mic's on. You just can't hear anything.
no, I turned it off. But if he wants to jump in and tell some really personal stories about Pete almost dying, and
My 3
big
favorite
water-
Peeps and Trey. What's up? What's going on, Mike Johns? Hope you're doing well,
yeah,
bud.
that's totally Mike Johns. You know what? If I had the ability to say curse words, I'd say them right now.
Tim checking in from Massachusetts. We got New Jersey in the house, so we're all over the place.
That's awesome.
I'm guessing New Jersey is Mr. Fuchs, who's watching the Pittsburgh Pirates and the
Mr.
Philadelphia
or Mrs.
Phillies play right now. I don't really care about baseball. He texted me earlier. I think he wanted to get in a little bit of friendly banter, but the Pirates have been so terrible for so long that I don't care.
Kokomo, Indiana.
Kokomo, Indiana, in the house.
Where's that?
I don't know. He's about to Google it. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. We're going to talk about Gaston. Cliche grinder. It really was. We got hit with a massive cold front. Fish were moving up. Temperatures were rising quick. It was about to go down. And then we got slammed with 30-degree nights, rain, cold, and it slowed everything down. So practice was okay. I went pretty much only largemouth fished in practice because I wanted to try to find those bites. Harnett County in the house. What's up?
What up?
And I went to a couple creeks. We caught some largemouth. I got some bites. We decided not to make that run morning of the tournament. We decided to stick close to something we actually found Thursday in practice. Thursday afternoon, we found a bite on the grass there. For those of you that don't know, and if anybody from NCWRC is listening and it's not supposed to be there, we found some eelgrass in Lake Gaston. And we got into a bite there on chatterbaits. It was a pretty specific bite. Trey carried me at Carr Lake as I think we talked about. I was the net man, and our rules reversed at Gaston. I caught all 5 of our keepers, and Trey ran the net man, including a near death experience, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So we found them in the eelgrass, and in practice we just kind of happened upon them. We wanted to fish some grass edges and see, and I think the first fish I caught when we fished the grass and practice was like a 3/8 spot. And I was like, all right, well, we're done here. And then of course we weren't done. I made another cast and caught a 2-pound spot. And I was like, okay, we really need to leave now. And then we went and fished another grass point and caught another keeper. So we started our day there and started off quick, fast, and in a hurry, man. Caught another 3/8 spot, like a 3/5 spot, a 2.5-pound largemouth, and then another like close to 2-pound spot. So we had 4 fish by like 9:30 ish.
Yep. We thought it was,
and we were like,
exactly
when I caught the 2.5, because I caught the 3/8, so I was winding that. I just had the cadence down again. We've talked about this, like cadence, color. I had it figured out what they wanted, and it was a certain speed. It was a white chatterbait with a gold blade, with missile baits, spunk shad, pearl white on the back. You would have to get it down in the grass, get it hung up, and pop it off the grass, and then they would smack it. So I caught that 3/8 spot, and then fished a little more, caught another 3/8 spot, got it in. I always retie after every spotted bass, because if you've never fished and caught spotted bass, they have really sharp little teeth, and they'll fray your line up in a hurry. And I used to go between them and check my line. And then on another Lake Norman tournament, I broke a big largemouth off because I didn't retie and I didn't check my line. So I've made a habit of when I catch a spot, I retie now. So I caught the second 3.5-pound spot, retied. As soon as I got on the front of the boat, I made another cast, and I caught that 2.5-pound largemouth. And I sat down. Trey and I were a little bit worked up. I said, I need to sit down and compose myself for a minute. And I looked at him. I said, we're fixing to have a bag, son. Like, I thought it was going to go down. And then we caught that other 2-pounder, and the bite just died.
It went down.
It died.
Real quick.
That grass bite died. We ran grass for a long time.
Any thoughts why it died? The conditions changed? The sun come up?
So honestly, I think I don't know how spots are when they spawn or when they're moving up, but I want to say like Pete hit them right in the head, and they weren't thick in there, right? It wasn't like there was a school of spots in like the eelgrass or anything like that. I mean, there was clearly more spotted bass in there. There was largemouth in there, but I think it just happened to be that morning window, those fish moving, getting active. And then as soon as that last spot was done, because the wind stayed the same relatively.
Yeah.
I mean, it was strong. It was a real strong wind, and it just died. I mean, looking back on it, like we would have definitely done some things differently, but not the morning. We would have run with that pattern. And I have to give all the credit for our fifth fish to Mike Nadeau and Nick Kincaid, because they called us. We're teamed up. We were traveling this year together, and they called us and said, get over here, because they went through like 60 fish that day.
Yeah, they were wild.
I mean, they just knew what was going on.
And we were giving updates, so they knew we were on 4 for a while.
For a while. We sat on them, and it wasn't until about like 1:30 in the afternoon, you know, we had been up there for about an hour, and we went through. I caught fish, but they were all shorts, all short fish. And I have to give Nick a huge shout out too, because he threw me a handful of the baits that they were chewing on, and I caught them all on that. And then Pete finally was able to get one on a crankbait, and it was a disaster. I mean, it was
unmitigated.
Absolutely. It was a disaster. And I'll just tell from my perspective, and then Pete can say from his. So when Pete's rod loaded up, and we're talking to Cash and Square Bill rod here, that rod loaded up. And if you guys know anything about spotted bass, like they fight like it's crazy. He had this fish coming up, and I went from the back deck, stepped down onto the main floor. And when I did that, the measuring board was sitting right there in that 90-degree angle. I hit the tip of my toe on it. And so when that happened, I fell forward, and I went almost out of the boat and ripped my pants, and my rod's in one hand, the net's in the other. And I'm trying to reach over as Pete's trying to grab me. These like 30-mile-an-hour winds have gusted this like white cap not over the boat, but into the boat. And he almost falls out of the boat. And so long story short, I'm doing one of these numbers, and there's the fish dangling with one treble in its mouth. And that was number 5. And we said, we're done. And we picked up and left.
Yeah, I wasn't dealing. So yeah, I had no idea what went down. So the fish, as spots often do, that we were fishing some super shallow humps kind of in the middle of the lake. So it was blowing. It was rolling. If you've ever been to Gaston, it was blowing right down the lake. So it was rolling, and we were on main lake humps. Like 2-footers for sure, like pretty stacked. So we're spot locked out there, and the fish hit on the way up. So I hit, and I'm like, net. I'm like, you can tell. Like, I knew it was a keeper. I knew it wasn't a big one, but I knew it was going to keep. I didn't know what happened. I see Trey grab the net, and next thing I know, he is hanging half over the side of the boat. So my instinct is like, I don't care about the fish. I don't want to see Trey go in the water and die. So I reach for his pocket as he continues to go forward. I'm like, I got to grab his back pocket and hope it doesn't rip.
It was totally going to rip.
And it was totally going to rip, but he was too far over for me to grab his pant, like where I should have grabbed. So he's going. I reach for his pocket at the exact same time we get hit with a wave in the side. Because now the boat's moving, because spot lock, we're fumbling around. And so a wave hits the side, and it pushes me. So now I'm falling on top of Trey. So the only thing I can do is like old school. Remember in football, when you would jump over everybody, you had to throw your elbow so you could roll over, like the monkey rolls. I'm like, I got a monkey roll here. So I threw all of my weight to the right and back, and I fall into the console, and my fish is still on in the air. And I just see this fish come up over the top of the gunnel. It shot like a rocket out of the water, and it's got one treble hook at the back hook in the corner of its mouth. And I was like, well, there's number 5, and I'm fixing to watch it go. And then somehow Trey, miracle, nets that thing, and the fish falls down in the net. We get it in the boat, and I was like, I'm done fishing in the wind, Trey. We're going somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So it fell off the hook into the net?
Oh, yeah.
It came off the hook into the net. It was 100%
It was magical. And the funny thing is Mike and Nick were about 75 meters to our like 11 o'clock. So they were right in front of us. off to our side. And I was like, did you guys see that? And they're like, no. And then right at that moment, Nick sets the hook. And it's a giant walleye.
It was like a 27,
Huge
28-inch walleye. Giant.
So we got some questions real quick. So
before we get in there, I did want to say, because Mike, was it Kokomo, Indiana?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked it up. If you're interested in some of the one cast snagless jigs, all that stuff, we're actually 30 miles east in Walnut Creek Outfitters. I looked it up. So it's in Gas City. So
there you go.
About 30 miles. I think it's at about 45, 50 minutes. If you're ever over that way, stop in and check them out.
Did y'all fish any boat docks? That was where we made a mistake.
We did fish boat docks, but we didn't fish them the way we should have fished them. I'll put it to you.
Once we got number 5, we should have went to boat docks because we really were one bite from a really good finish. I mean, we had 13 pounds and we had two dinkers in there. We had 3 pretty solid fish.
Yep.
But we went back to the grass because we had found that bite in the afternoon. In practice, and I was like, it'll turn back on. We can go whack another one in the grass, and it just never. I think I caught 2 more short fish, and Trey caught another short fish.
Yep.
And those big ones just never fed again.
They caught
them all out there on the humps. They got most of them. Yeah. Trey did catch a fish, Nick. Yes, he did. They were just short.
What was the bait?
No, he caught him in the net.
That was Jeff Warner said. Trey did catch a fish. Yeah, I guess technically he did catch a keeper. It was not hooked anymore. So yeah, you caught that one.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
You air netted it. I know, Tim. I didn't have the GoPro running.
Yeah, I know.
I was too lazy that morning as we were getting tournament stuff set up to not too lazy. There's just too much going on in your head that I didn't put a new SD card in it, so I just left it in the box and didn't have it running because it would have been something to see. There was probably a lot of cussing and I don't really remember what all happened. What was the bait, Trey? Oh, so the bait you caught that Nick gave you.
The bait was it was a shaky head. It was a Zoom trick worm, and they were being very particular. If you know it, pumpkin. If you know anything about spots, like they have tiny mouths, so it's a good trick to trim those down. As Nick showed me on there, there's some other things you can do with a shaky head to help your hookup ratio. We'll talk about that in another episode, but the bottom line is it was a shaky head, and shaky head's a confidence bait for me. Like, it's really easy for me to fish a shaky head. So as soon as Nick said that, I was like, too easy. I got this. You know what I mean?
Trey was throwing the shaky head. I stuck with the crankbait because I'm way more confident with that. But yeah, it was a pumpkin shaky head, just a Zoom trick worm. But you had to cut it like an inch off.
Actually, I think,
and then you had to dye like an inch of it for chartreuse. It was super picky.
It might have been a Deep Creek Lures.
It probably was
worm,
a Deep Creek worm.
To be honest with you, but Deep Creek makes phenomenal baits, awesome soft plastics, and I probably have 500 of them in my boat.
Yeah, I just don't know the name of their floating tail worm. Nick, if you're here, let the folks know what the name of that one is because I don't remember. So yeah, that was our day. We ended up with just under 13 pounds on their scale. We've learned that our Bubba scales to the tournament scales are heavier. By about a half a pound. So that was a good lesson because it was the same with Trey's Bubba scale. His was a half pound heavy.
Yep.
Mine was a half pound heavy. And actually Nick and Mike's scale was a half pound heavy to the tournament.
It was,
scale,
because they said they had about 19 pounds. They came in with 18 and a half.
18 and a half.
Still crushed it, guys. Like, they did a phenomenal job, and couldn't have been more happy for the people that won it, man. Like Nick and Mike, like, they 100% deserve it.
We were super pumped, man. When they messaged us, man, it was probably like 10:30, 11 o'clock. They were like, we have 19 pounds. We were like, dude, they have a legitimate shot to win. Like, there were some locals there that are really, really good. But the stuff that they fish would have been tough to fish in the wind because they're forward facing guys. And they've got a really good largemouth bite dialed in with forward facing sonar. They've been winning everything. But with the wind blowing, they couldn't really get to what they were doing, and it made it tough on them.
Yep.
And it was tough on everybody. I mean, I'm not, except for Nick and Mike. I mean, even Jesse Wise, if you all know Jesse,
we got sunglasses.
We got his sunglasses in here. He's our next episode coming next Thursday. Make sure you check that one out. He had a 7.5 pounder and 4 dinks and ended up second. And they only had like 7 bites the entire day.
Yep.
So it was definitely the struggle bus for most folks. Again, Mike and Nick figured it out, and that is just awesome. When you do that, it was kind of like us at Carr. Like, we were 1 bite away from the win there. Mike and Nick struggled a little bit on car. They had 5 fish, but they lost out on those bigger bites. But we caught a bunch of fish all day, and we had something figured out that was working for us. So it's super fun in those tournaments when you get it figured out and momentum's rolling. So I hope they can keep carrying that momentum into our next one on Jordan. Hopefully we can keep momentum going into Jordan. Jordan's setting up to be an absolute slugfest next Saturday.
We talk about like the fronts moving in, that we had a front hit at Carr.
Yep.
We had a front hit at Gaston. The guys down in Florida right now fishing the Bassmaster Elite Series on the Harris chain, they had a front come in.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're looking at look at the weights from today.
Well, that was a factor too, but Harris chain is fishing much different than it ever has because most of that grass is gone. They sprayed so much of that grass that there's not a lot. Last time the elites were there, I think Buddy Gross, actually, I don't think he was fishing grass, but a lot of all those guys, I think, got in Banana Cove, a lot of them just fishing that hydrola, and that stuff doesn't really exist there right now. So that combined with the front, and it's been tough on them.
Yeah, I mean, if 12 pounds is keeping you in the mix in the Elite Series on the Harris chain, then the bite is tough. I mean, shout out to John Garrett, who's leading right now. They actually were supposed to start yesterday, but weather was so bad that
it's like 40-mile-an-hour wind.
Today was day one, and so championship is going to be on Monday.
Yep.
So hey,
Angle of the year is better than anyone. I agree, Dave.
I think they're all cool, man. Like
John
honestly.
Cox is up there too.
Yeah, he finished second.
This is one of those tournaments that's turning into a fishing tournament.
Yeah.
Where you just go fishing
instead of a catching tournament.
No, instead of a scoping tournament. I think a lot of those fish are actually up in the Kissimmee grass and that sort of thing because they got to find some type of cover.
Yep.
So
JT had a solid bag. Yep. KJ Queen had a pretty good bag. So,
yeah, dude.
So North Carolina, South Carolina guys showing up.
Honestly, like right now in the top 10, a lot of guys you don't hear a lot about. John Garrett, I talked about,
Rookie.
Brad Watley, Joseph Webster, David Gaston, Brock Mosley, but I guess recently
Brock's been around for a while,
he's been around, but like even below that there's a couple guys.
Who else is it?
11th Timothy Dube.
I don't know.
Dube, Trey McKinney's up there, isn't he? Like
he's 12th. Yeah. Paul Mueller's 13th. Kyle Norsetter's 14th. Cody's 15th. But yeah, I mean there's definitely some guys that recently you really haven't seen up towards the top of the leaderboard that they're doing quite well.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't catch the
Mosley is very underrated. I agree with you, Brad, 100%.
Yeah, he got the trophy last year at the Sabine, right? So
Brock has been one of the most consistent anglers. If you look at his tournament fishes since he made it to the elites, he's always kind of missed that podium. He's been bridesmaid a bunch of times. Just a very, very solid angler. And a nice guy. If you ever get a chance to meet him, he's a super nice guy.
So if you guys didn't get to check the live out today, or at least the live weigh-in, and listen to Milliken, man, what he said pained my stomach. And he brought 4 fish back to the scales because the entire day he was culling his 4th fish. He thought he had 5 in the live well, and he had 4 fish all day long, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
He had 4 fish all day long. He thought he had 5 in the live well, and so he brought 4 back to the scales. And in a tournament like that right now, what's going on in the Harris chain with the weights being that 11 to 12 pound range where it's going to get you into the top 50 or not, that sucks, dude. That sucks.
The good thing is, though,
but you can drop them tomorrow.
With the weights being the way they are, if he can go out and find 20 plus pounds, he still has a shot to make that cut line. It is the Harris chain. Anybody could find a 30-pound bag if they figure something out, right?
That's
it's not like the Sabine River. Sabine River, you drop that fish,
you're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
You are not coming back.
Well, maybe not, because some guys may not catch 5 there.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true.
I actually yesterday, because they didn't have the tournament. Who was on? They had basically a podcast. I think it was Patrick. Hamner was on, and Buddy Gross, because he won last time. They were just talking, and what they said particularly interesting. I think it was this podcast, so maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it was Brandon Cobb I was listening to, but a lot of those guys are still catching out. Maybe catching one of those big fish. you know, like you typically do in 4 to 6, 7, 8 pounds, or 5 to 8 pounds, but they're not catching that 2.5 to 5 pound class.
Yeah.
So it's all like 2 pounders and maybe one big one.
Yeah.
But typically you need those 2.5, 3 pounders and then the big one to have those, you know, decent bags there. So don't know why they're not showing up. But
when a guy like Bernie Scholes, who's from that area, is riding the struggle bus, and he only had 5 fish for like 4 pounds.
Yeah.
5 pounds, like, you know, it's tough. So
Bernie Scholes is like, he's that dude. If somebody showed me a picture of him, I would never guess he was a fisherman.
He's one. Well, he's like Mikey Nadeau, right? Like, he's one of the 2 guys on the Elite Series that wears a visor. So Clifford Perch and Bernie Scholes, they both wear visors all the time. That's the only reason I know, because Mikey, he's a big visor guy. Right?
Bernie Schultz looks like a dude that retired and opened a bar in Key West and just sits at the end of the bar all day and watches people come in and out
If
of his
he
bar.
opened a bar in Key West, I want to go to his bar. Give me that marker.
That's what he reminds me of.
Yeah, for sure.
Golfer, yes. Angler, no. That's right, Brad. Terry said that happened to Mark Daniels Jr. Yeah, it's happened to a bunch of folks. If you tournament fish for any length of time, you're going to make a fish calling mistake, and it's going to cost.
I don't know if you would. You are very.
I'm super anal, but here's the thing: John Cruz is super anal and had 6 in his box.
Yeah,
and John writes down, has a pad he writes down on to keep track. And
who came in earlier this year and left one in the live well?
Oh yeah, that was
No, that was Bobby Bakewell, and he left one in the live well when he was down in Florida.
Right.
Fishing the Toyota Series event. Yeah.
Well, and then you had who was the one you sent me the video of that got all the way to Wayne and had
Hey
6.
kids.
Kid says hi.
What's up, that was on the MPFL, I think, wasn't
it? It was Matt Luna did it in it was a Toyota or an Invitation or something.
Yeah.
He had 6 and didn't even realize so he got back to Wayne and he's pulling his fish out and he goes, and you just see him put him back in. He's like, I have to disqualify myself because I brought 6 fish to the. Yeah, Polynick had an extra in the box. Yep, he's done it. I know Swindle's done it twice.
Livacy's done it.
Livacy's done it twice as well. Yeah,
you know how they call the tournament director. Usually, if you catch it before you make another cast, then
you can have 6 in your box for culling.
Yeah,
but you can't make another cast if you cast with that 6th one in there. That's where so
for
just a couple weeks ago, a guy came in with 4. Yep. Yeah, that was the one we were talking about. He didn't get his 5th fish out of the
So let's ask the crowd this. So every angler has their superstitions and all this stuff, like no bananas in the boat, whatever.
No bananas.
Here's mine. It's that 5th fish curse, right?
Yeah.
Like Pete's like number 1. Like I just need
number
to get
1,
right? Because I don't want a 0.
One.
But once we get to 4, I don't know what it is, but like my nerves start changing. I'm like, okay, we got 4. We got to get number 5. And I swear Gaston was like,
that's rubbed off on me.
I know.
I never used to care about getting.
I don't know if you guys are like that or not, but that 5th fish, that's always the thing that just gets me. Like getting 1, 2, 3, and 4, like not a huge deal. I mean,
for me, I got to get number 1. Like I'm always super nervous and just on edge till I catch that first fish. Mine is I wear draws that haven't been washed in 11 days. I wondered what that smell was, Paul.
Man,
I wear the same shirt if I had a good tournament and the same socks. Yep, I don't have that issue anymore.
So
I just go fun fishing. That works too, Terry.
That's awesome.
BPT is doing their Dale Hollow, and I'm not.
They still fish?
I'm not watching the coverage, but I did just bring it up to see where they're at. So today, Marshall Robinson.
Who?
Marshall Robinson. I don't know. 37 fish. For 115
little
pounds.
Panty room to get that.
Gosh.
And the big fish was only 4.8.
Really?
How much was his weight?
115 pounds with 37 fish.
Gee.
And the big one.
But
was
this
only
is
4.
day 2 or day 1?
Day 2.
So that's 2 days.
Day 2.
Or he caught 100. Is that his
Tomorrow,
overall, or is that just today?
That's I guess that's
total for 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
So 50 pound a day average. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man. I wish we would.
If you're into that kind of thing, same here. Need to get that first fish.
Who said burn your first cast and don't fill your live wells until you catch keepers? I am. So I don't know about burning the first cast, but I definitely do not put any water in my live wells until the first fish.
So I do, because your coolest water is in the morning and it's better for the fish when you do catch them.
So I used to not do that, and I probably won't do that unless I have ice in there. And that, of course, when we had
I used to not take the net out till I caught a fish. That sounds like a disaster.
I'm drawing a blank. It's been a long day, but he was talking about you don't really want to do that because it can shock them because you get all that cold water and then ice in there. So in the summertime now, when I get ice, and I'll fill it up, halfway, and so it won't be as bad.
If you feel you don't even need ice, if you fill your live wells up the second you dump your boat in, you won't need ice. If you recirculate and use some type of product, I promise you don't even need ice.
In the kayak world,
the only fish that I've lost in the last 7 years was using ice. Once I stopped using ice and started filling my live wells in the morning, I haven't lost another fish since. And I temp check my live wells in the summer, and they stay that morning temperature as long as you're not opening them a whole bunch.
Well, that's my problem. I'm always catching.
Look at that one.
Up.
I don't know who posted that one. I used to not take the net out.
That was dang Jeff Horner. That just sounds like a disaster.
So I'm not a big net guy. In
the kayak world, I won't submit fish until I have a limit. Yeah, I can see that. So you take your pictures of your 5 or your first 4. Once you get number 5, then you upload them all, and then you get to shock everybody in the tournament because they're like, Paul ain't caught nothing, and then all of a sudden he's got 90 inches.
Nick said,
I keep and eat my last bass after every tournament. Shut up, Paul.
Mikey and Nick say they don't eat anything until they punish themselves. They starve themselves until they don't catch.
I don't eat on the tournament day.
Yeah, I have a bad problem not eating at all in the water.
A lot of chlorine and ice. Yeah, there is a lot of chlorine and ice. That's most people don't check to make sure that they're getting non-chlorinated ice.
Who said, what's up, Oincast? I'm super.
What's up, Oincast? That Zach Scott was going on.
What's up, Zach?
I fill mine with ice in my live wells to balance with the lake temps. Yep. Yeah, if you put it in the morning, and then you fill it up, then that'll work. Like half a bag. You just don't want a full bag of ice. A lot of people shock their fish. Yeah, right. I'm not shocking anyone ever. No, Paul, you would never shock anybody. Nick eats all his food after the tournament. Brad said.
We've been waiting for this for, I don't know, it feels like forever, but fishing is on now. Fishing's on, but then it's off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Fishing's on, but then it's off. We're not in the post-spawn blues yet.
So, later, Paul. Good luck tomorrow, man.
I got tricked. I'll tell the audience this. So I've been waiting for the fish on my little lake to move up and spawn and to go do some sight fishing because I got 4 or 5 feet, water visibility. You can actually do some serious sight fishing. And Sunday, I get back from church and I go down, look at my boat slip. I'm always looking along, and there's a male and a big female swimming around that boat slip. And the male was making a little bed there. So I was like, I'm not going to mess with them. I'll let him stay overnight because my plan was Monday morning before I dumped the boat back in. I was going to stick my camera down there and try to get some underwater footage of the baits and all. And I did that. They weren't locked on very well, so they wouldn't react. So I was like, okay, it's going to be on if I've got him in my boat slip. And then I get out there. I don't think I saw another single bed.
It's crazy.
I can't explain it. Why that was the only place on the lake. I think I saw 2, and they were like 8-inch bucks.
Really? But they didn't spawn though, because there's no fry, right?
No, I haven't seen any fry.
So they just pulled up and then they went back down.
So Wednesday I was out, and Wednesday again there was just maybe a handful of beds, and I jacked one off a bed, and when I went to boat flip him, he hit the side of the boat and flopped off and got back in the water. So. And I was disappointed with myself, and then I just spun around and went down the bank, and I tossed that swim jig out there, and as soon as it hit the water, a 6-pounder smacked it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I fished for a couple more hours and nothing. I was like, well, it's weird right now.
Well, Pete's dad.
Yeah, it's gonna be on fire.
Pete's dad drove all the way down here. He's sitting right here, folks. You can't hear him. He's not talking. He caught a.
Jeff said I won't put a fresh dip in. Before we get into that, Jeff said I won't put a fresh dip in until
don't cut me off.
It's terrible after 4. I just don't want to get too far behind. I get a ham and cheese shorty for lunch before every derby from Wawa. That's definitely David Fuchs. Matt was pretty good last week. Watched a guy pull 8 pounds, 14 ounces off the bed as I pulled my boat out. Mott. Yeah, I've never fished Mott. I don't even know where that is. With next week's weather, it's going to be on fire. Yes, it will.
Yeah. It's going to be on fire next week. Let's just hope it stays like that.
Should be the next
Saturday.
The next week weather looks really good, and the following week's the full moon. So the next 2.5 weeks should be really good.
The next month is going to be really good.
Well, Pete's dad jacked a 614 off the bed, Nick, if that tells you anything. And somebody who said Hobie eyewear is fire.
That was Paul before he left.
Paul's gone now, but let me tell you. So during the tournament, Pete and I ran to an emergency spot that did not pan out whatsoever. There were definitely fish there, but they were not biting, or they weren't biting what we were throwing at them. What I was throwing at them because Pete was eating a sandwich. So
you zeroed on Jordan on Tuesday. Oh, Jeff, I'll talk to you later, bud.
So, no, you won't. So,
We don't fish against my will.
so I was taking my beanie off, and when I did that, I flipped my glasses right off the side of the boat, bloop, in the water. Well, Hobie floating collection, man. Those sunglasses came right up and stood up just like this, and all Pete had to do was put the boat in reverse, and I went over and grabbed my glasses. So if you guys are serious about like not ever losing a pair of sunglasses, I swear, use that link, check out the floating collection. It literally happened to me during a tournament, and I'm super impressed with the ability to go back.
And they're really good luck because Mikey wore them the day of the tournament.
Oh yeah.
And
so these right here, these gray framed glasses from Hobie are the ones that Mikey Nadu wore. So these are the tournament winning Lake Gaston glasses. And you know,
we're going to frame them and hang them up.
And you know what Mikey did that day? He ordered a pair of them.
Bed fishing. Bed fishing in Overcast. You want the Sightmaster lenses?
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
They're very good. I whacked them off the bed all day.
And if you only get one, they work fine in sunny.
Sightmasters are awesome for like almost everything.
Yeah. Going back to Jeff's, you guys were out on Jordan Tuesday. I know you smacked them Monday, but you guys.
Yeah, that was Wednesday. We whacked them. I went to Harris on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Wednesday they were whacking them. Yeah, there were. I saw shad spawning too, Jeff. And there was nothing eating them on Wednesday. So those fish aren't around the shad spawn because they're elsewhere getting ready to do their thing. Or
that's
in the
crazy. It seems like a really early shad spawn.
It's a super well. So I went back 3 years ago. I fished a tournament there, and I caught bass in the shad spawn, and it was also when MLF was here, and they caught a bunch of their fish on the shad spawn.
Wait, were you fishing at the same time in the MLF?
I literally, and I told Mike O'Neill this at iCast. I saw him catch a bag, and I went to his spot the day of my tournament because it was their off day, and I whacked fish.
That's not his spot. He borrowed it.
I mean, yeah, it's public water. He should have done a better job with his cameraman of hiding where he was at. No, I didn't fish his area, but I didn't know the shad were spawning because I wasn't able to practice in the morning because of my work schedule. So when I saw him catching them in the shad spawn, I knew I ran to a shad spawn area that I fished.
I have a love-hate relationship with the shad spawn because if you're there and you don't get bit, then you just gotta leave.
Wasted a lot of time,
and you gotta leave. You can't
Eddie,
stay around.
Hate this time of year in North Carolina for bass fishing.
I mean, this is like everybody's favorite time of year. So
I guess not everybody can like it. My dad and I had almost 30 pounds.
But you know what? I kind of see where Eddie's coming from because you guys went out today and didn't even get a single bite, right? You went to 2 lakes today, didn't even get a single bite. So it's either on or it's completely off. And so I can see where you're coming from, Eddie. But I did want to ask you guys watching
today. The front definitely threw stuff.
Shad spawn. What is your favorite baits to throw in the shad spawn?
Spinnerbait, buzzbait, swim jig.
Okay.
Or a chatterbait. Sometimes that they won't eat a spinnerbait, they'll eat the chatterbait. One of those two.
Swim jig or top water.
Yeah. Okay. You don't throw anything that's non-white and non-moving?
I didn't say that. I just said I threw those baits.
Okay. Spinnerbait is definitely my number one, and I will back it up with a soft plastic. Either a wacky worm because those fish are up in the water column pushing shad, you throw something over them, or a fluke,
a donkey rig,
right? Or donkey rig. Those are like two of the ways. Like if I can't get bit on that spinnerbait, the first burn, walking baits are great. Anything top water, but you always got to have a backup bait ready to rock and roll. And I don't even mean like connected to your hook keeper. I mean like have it dangling off the side of your boat because the shad spawn is so quick.
Prop bait's a good one that I never really thought to throw. Would definitely work.
Jerk bait's pretty good too in shallow water when they're on the shad spawn.
For me, a spinner bait's usually my go-to because I want to make as many casts as possible because like in a tournament you have at most 35 to 40 minutes of the shad spawn because as soon as the sun gets above the trees, it's done.
The most frustrating thing in the shad spawn, like Ben talked about, is when you see the bass, they're feeding aggressively on the shad. You throw in there for 45 minutes and doesn't matter.
Happen in tournaments.
And you just don't get bit. It's the most frustrating thing, dude.
And that's when I typically go to a weird color and I'll get bit. If I'm throwing white shad colors and I don't get bit, I'll change to something different.
Yeah.
No, typically I go like I'll tell you right now, one of my go-tos in the shad spawn, if I can't get them to eat a normal, is my early spring spinnerbait with that big orange Colorado blade. They will absolutely demolish that thing.
Yeah, just something different catches their eye.
It's just something different, dude. Every time I've run into where I can't get them to eat a regular spinnerbait or a chatterbait or a walking bait, I will put that stupid orange blade in there, throw it in there, and they will start eating it. And I think it's just that orange.
Yes, Tim. I was just about to say that. So a lot of times when those bass push up, they feed, they push them onto the reeds or the pads or the rock or whatever. They will go back down and they will, or the docks, and they will go back down and they will just hang out for a second and digest what they're doing. That's a great time to throw a square bill past their face.
Trevor said do a wacky style Alabama underspin. Throw a weightless minnow. Yeah.
Wacky style Alabama. What?
Exactly.
I love it.
Spinner, jerk, or fluke.
I mean, you could actually set that up.
My biggest problem with a shad spawn is it ends and I'll stay way too long because I'm like, this fish still have to be around here somewhere, which they probably are, but they're so engorged.
The problem is
slow down, Pete.
So like
on everything you're
the last.
Up. Hey man, we're about growing a culture of anglers helping anglers. I can't keep everything a secret.
The last tournament shad spawn I was on was at Watery a couple years ago. And of course, the shad spawn's not the same throughout the lake. Now, the upper half of the lake was just blown out with mud. And so it was pretty much useless to fish. I went up there and practiced for a day and didn't get anything. And then the shad spawn happened. And the second morning, I went to a place where the shad spawn was better. And that thing happened. I didn't get bit there. And then, and then you're just like, well, I'm going to grind it out.
And I've done
grind it all day.
The only time I've ever ran into a shad spawn where I couldn't get bit was on Tillery.
Oh, really?
Could not get them to eat anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, that, like you said, the shad are spawning, the bass are blowing up everywhere. They won't eat a popar, a walking bait, a fluke, a jerk bait, a spinner bait. I'm pulling my hair out. And then I went somewhere else and caught him on a shaky.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you just got to take the cast net out of your rod locker.
I know. That's what I tell everybody in the club. Like, they're like, what did you catch them on? I said, live shad. You just throw your cast net out there and fill your live well up and they can't say
You know what? I've seen it in reverse, right? So we talk about the shad spawn where you can't get bit on artificial baits for crap. But I've also seen it in the summertime. And in Pete, I know you've seen this before. I got a buddy who exclusively fishes with live shad from the lake. He's not a bass angler. He's just an angler, right? So he brings this big beep boat to the lake, goes and catches the shad in the lake, and then he throws them on like drop shots or Carolina rigs, whatever. And I have sat nose to nose with this dude. He's a good buddy of mine, Dan Ralston, and he will sit there and throw live shad all around his boat. He's got like 4 or 5 rods out, and I'll throw in there with a drop shot. And I'll just catch them and catch them and catch them, or a deep diving crankbait. And it got to the point one day last year, he goes, "What are you using?" And I said, it's a Missile Baits, right? I don't know the name of the bait, but it's a Missile Baits worm.
It's a magic worm. Mini magic worm.
And he goes, "Can I have some of those?" I was like, "Yes." Yeah. So I Nick Kincaided him some of those worms, and he sat there and he whacked them. So it was the weirdest thing. They were eating artificial baits. They would not touch live bait. He would catch catfish after catfish after catfish. Wouldn't even get a bass to bite.
Yeah, I need to go fish the blueback spawn in Murray for sure, Jeff. Trevor said, what's your guys' go-to when fish are on beds and you get a big cold front?
Cast net.
Yeah. So if they're on beds and you get a big cold front, they stay on the beds, because if they just moved up, a lot of times they'll pull off if they haven't started to do their thing yet. A wacky is definitely an option. I'll still use a white D-bomb. I just change the way I do it. Like at that point in time, it becomes a game of hitting them in the head 350 times until they get so mad they have no choice but to eat it. The other bait that I'll use if it's a big fish, and I had a lot of success on this last year, take out your pens and pencils, kids, if you want some juice, is a big, I'm talking 9-inch on the small side, a 9-inch glide bait. And that big presence in their bed, a lot of times they can't take it. They need to react, and they'll come up and eat that. So I caught several 5+ pound fish last year on a big glide bait when they were on the bed and they wouldn't hit anything else because of that cold front.
I'll tell you another bait. If you don't want to go drop like $5,000 on a glide bait, another bait that you can leave in the strike zone for a really long period of time is either a floating or a suspending jerk bait, a
Yeah.
smaller profile that you can flip just past them. Mike Johns will say a prop bait, but you got to move that a lot. I mean, you can leave it in the strike zone, but a really small, like Rapala jerk, whatever brand, it doesn't matter. Usually I like to throw like a gold color. I don't know what it is.
What's
And
up, Larry?
And I'll throw it right past their bed, and I will barely twitch it. And depending on the fish's behavior, if it just stays there, then I know that's not going to work. But if it starts moving towards it, that'll work sometimes. But then if you got to get it right in front of their face, like Tokyo rig, drop shot, Nico rig, wacky worm, anything that's going to go right past their face, a lot of times it won't trigger them to bite, but it might trigger them to move the bait.
A lizard will get them
A
every
lizard
single
will get
time.
them, yeah. And that's why a glide bait works so good, right? Like you can get big bluegill colored glide baits and stuff like that. When they know something is coming in there to feed on their spawn, they'll eat them.
Well, that's the one I jacked the other day off the bed. The one I had a boat flipping there. You know, I was using the Snaggles flipping jig. You just look at it. Couple different baits on the long neck hook. They're just looking at it. What got it to finally bite was I tossed that Snaggles swim jig out there in perch color because that's the one I was throwing, and I would let it fall past the bed, and it would turn to look at it, and I would crank my reel really fast, and pop that jig up, and it hits him right in the face, and there was nothing he would do but just grab at it. So
I'm gonna grab a glide real quick. That works really good in the spawn. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and if you're looking to get into that glide bait game and you want one that is not expensive and has a really good swim, 6 cents is even on the expensive side. That is a good one, but the Cabela's ones that they just came out with that are $17.99 are a very, very, very good glide bait for the money. They swim really well. They glide really nice. They're a good bait. So they're $17.99, and it's hard to beat. Guys, I got Larry Freeman in the chat, and I talked about it on the last one. I want to bring it up again because he actually reminded me. He's got an event if you're in the Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, New Jersey, or if you're up in that area. He's got it's their 20th anniversary. It's a team bass tournament. It's a tournament that they do for paralyzed veterans. They do it with the Paralyzed Veterans of America. Keystone chapter, the Outcast Bass Club puts it on. Really cool event. They're looking for boaters. They'll pair you up with a disabled veteran, a paralyzed veteran. If they whatever needs they have to accommodate, whatever they'll work with you to get them on the boat. You get to go out there for a day of fishing with them, and it's a really cool event. Larry Freeman is he's in the chat. He's one of the organizers. I will post the flyer again in our group. If you're not in our group, make sure you join it. So
are you sharing this right now?
No, because I didn't hit the button. Oh. I could do that, but
it'll be in our group.
It'll be in the group, and then I'll next week I will share it at some point on the live next time we go live. But for those of you that are here, if you might be interested, there's lodging available at no charge. They worked out a deal with a hotel there in Pennsylvania. It's Friday, June 14th. Show up. They have a little reception from 5 to 8. They team you up, feed you a little bit of food, get some fellowship, get to hang out. The tournament is Saturday, the 15th of June. And it's your normal tournament, 5:30 to 3. They have a weigh-in. They do all of that good stuff. So make sure you check that out. I will again post that flyer in our groups and onto Instagram so you can check that out. But it's a really cool event. I don't think I'll be able to make it up this year. Just house hunting and new job. So I don't know if I'll be able to take off to go up there, but it's definitely something I'm going to do.
You need to hit our buddy Eric Schwindel if you're looking for a house.
It's a cool deal. Glides are crushing for me right now. I've broken my PB 3 times in 7 weeks.
Well, that's awesome.
Hey, Zach, I'm going to spill it all, bro. Nesties are working too. Just nail weight them so they get down. Yeah, the Nestie's a good one. Am I talking the Swerve? That might be what it's called, Brad. Is it the more shad shaped one, the more round one? Brad is our dude at BPS. If you're looking for a boat, Bass Pro Shops, Cary, North Carolina. He's the marine sales manager. Go holler at him if you're looking for a nitro.
Boat, Brad.
Nitro or a tracker, or one of those lake lice boats that they sell as well. Next person to make a Carolina Waters order with the 1Cast code, I'll throw a Bass Pro Glide in with the order.
Ooh.
Did you hear that, folks? Brad Terry says head to CarolinaWatersNC.com. Use the code TheOneCast, all one word. Order you some of that swag, and Brad is going to hook you up with one of the pro glides in your order to try out. I'm telling you right now,
you better get there fast.
it's a
I'm
it's a
working
great.
even I'm going on it. See,
It's a great glide bait. And if you don't get that one, again, it's $17.99. Like, you can't beat it for the money. It, like I said, it glides really well. And I saw where you at Bass and Through. Our boy Rick said Bass Pro really stepped up their hard bait game. Nice patterns on their XPS line. Yeah, I mean, I was at Bass Pro yesterday because of the storms we were supposed to get that we never did, so I didn't fish. And they have some really good looking stuff.
They do.
Bass Pro,
even their bladed jigs.
yeah. So their bladed jigs, aka chatterbaits, are being made by Z-Man. Z-Man stamped right on the packaging. Yep. They have some different colors that Z-Man doesn't make. And Trey bought a few, and they swim really well. They're a really good looking bait. And Trey's favorite color is the coleslaw. I don't throw that. I need to get some because I've seen them whack them.
911 Custom Lures coleslaw spinnerbait is absolutely clutch in the late winter time. You can slow roll their spinnerbaits, and then the Bass Pro Shops XPS coleslaw colored chatterbait, bladed jig, whatever they call it, chatterbait, I think, made by Z-Man is really good.
Trevor
Great
said
action.
their new wake bait is fire too. I haven't seen the wake bait yet, so I have to check that out. But Trey brought a couple baits in. He brought in a multi-jointed swim bait, which can be a good one. That's the Trace by 6 Cents.
It's not the bluegill pattern one, but this is a good one to swim past them to see what their reactions are going to be. This is a fast sink one right here. They make a slow sink one. So if you guys are like trying to bed fish or just see what the fish's reaction, you can throw a multi-jointed swim bait past them to see what they're going to do, which is this one right here. I'll hold it to the camera. And then if they don't really move, then you can pick up a single jointed like glide style bait and throw that past them.
Nick, I will give my rod line set up as soon as he shows these baits. That's a good call. And so that is the 6 Cents Trace. That's a multi-jointed bait, so it's a really natural swim. You can burn that, and I've had good success on multi-jointed baits too. You burn them into the bed and then just stop. If that's a Chad shad, just slide it off in the trash. Come on, man. I smash them on a Chad shad, dude. And the Spro and the original. I absolutely whack them on that one. That's another good bait. Affordable. I think that one's $40, something like that.
Yeah, I don't own $1 million glide bait.
Neither do I.
I catch fish just fine. So
why does everybody look at me like that? You can get in the weeds in the swim bait game.
I mean, just look at John Cox with the Berkeley Nessie, man. He's putting in work with that thing.
Yep. So Nick, for me, rod line that I'm using a Cashin swim bait rod. Typically I throw it on the 710 because I like the bigger, heavier rod. 710 Cashin swim bait rod. I'm using an 8 speed, either 200 or 300 size reel. Just depends on what reel I decide to put on it that year. And then I use 20-pound fluorocarbon. You can go up to 25 if you're worried about it. I don't typically. I feel like 25 is overkill most of the time. But I like the 20-pound. That's plenty. 6 Cents just locked in a deal with Walmart. Their glide should be in the set already at your stores. Yeah, I saw that they were doing a bunch of stuff at Walmart. So
they've been there for a while.
Yeah, but I think they just did their full product line. Yeah, because I think they had hooks and weights and most of them. They just went full product line and all.
Yeah, I haven't think I've seen plastics, but yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Deep Creek Lures has some custom painted ones too. Yeah, Nick, I saw some pictures and I'm definitely going to be hitting them up. If you didn't see Nick's post earlier, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can go to Deep Creek Lures. Just Google it. There's the Nessie that we've been talking about. It's actually a soft swim bait, so it's a soft rubber swim bait or glide bait.
Toss that thing here.
But you can go to Deep Creek Lures. You can use the code NickK25 and save 25% off your entire order. Deep Creek has awesome soft plastics. Doing the custom painted glide baits. They have a bunch of other stuff. Jesse Wise, who was on our show, he'll be on the episode that drops next Thursday at noon, audio, and about 7 p.m. video. Jesse is also, they title sponsor him, MPFL Pro. He's got a new bait he designed. It isn't released yet. There might be some pictures floating around out there, what it looks like. You may be able to figure it out, but he showed us some photos, and it's going to be a good fire one. Yeah, it's a flipping bait. And I will probably not exclusively flip the D-bomb. Sorry, John, and our other friends over at Missile.
We'll keep it honest.
Oh, I'm definitely going to still flip a
keep-
D-bomb.
Yeah,
believe
I mean,
me.
I got like 5 million D-bombs in my boat.
But
like,
that
they're
new
getting
bait,
flipped.
you know, sometimes that change, it's going to have a little bit different action, and sometimes that's what you need. I mean,
That's right.
I joke when I talk about bed fishing and say all you need is a white D-bomb, but I mean, any color D-bomb, I'll switch to a regular craw bait. I can't think of the name of the Rage swimming tail grubs.
The Rage craw?
Rage, no, not the craw, the other Rage tail.
Rage tail.
I'll go to just a Rage tail sometimes.
That's
they
a
like that
great
they
bait.
skinnier profile, and that really heavy flap in the legs on a bed will sometimes trigger them to bite. So that, you know, all of that stuff should be in your arsenal.
Ben, what's the name of the swim bait that you have that I needed more of? That little
Stinger.
the stinger.
Yeah, that's
So that little stinger, that
Yeah.
boot tail, like
3.5 inch.
first of all, that thing is fabulous as a trailer. It's awesome on an Alabama rig,
Mhm.
but don't be afraid to flip either a fluke style bait or a boot tail bait in a bed.
You know what I do with a lot? That 3.5 inch, I put on the Ned,
Mm-hmm.
the weedless Ned. And so one, it gives that it's a finesse swim bait at that point that you can just go down the bank and reel. And when you see a bed, you can just drop it right on. Usually
That's
I
right.
use a pearl, a white one, so that when
Yep.
I see the bed, it just drops right on.
That's right.
And
It crushes.
a lot of
Yeah.
times if it's like Jordan or Harris around here, or it's an overcast day and you can't really see the beds, if you're slowly just going down the bank and reeling that thing, a lot of times the bass will smack it.
Yep.
And then you'll get a key and you can really then pay attention and look and
Here's
drop
another
it down.
Here's another bait to don't be afraid to throw this bait in the spawn. A frog.
Yeah.
Throw a frog. If it's early spawn, they're just moving up, they're still like really irritable. Go for it.
Yep. No,
You can't go wrong with a frog.
No,
I mean, they don't eat the frog, then you got to start fishing in their beds. But if they eat the frog, then I'm not putting that down.
yeah, there's a lot.
Pete's dad's laughing right now, but that's because he went in one cove and caught like 8 fish in like a 75-yard stretch with a frog.
There are times that they do not like that frog. Peter, you fishing Lake James with us? No, I'm not going to make James this year, unfortunately. That is a great lake to bed fish, smallmouth, largemouth. It's well, not small, mean mouth now. There are no smallmouth left because we've destroyed our fisheries by introducing spotted bass. If you haven't listened to those conversations yet, go back and listen. We've had Seth Miko on to talk about it with NCWRC. We've had Corey Oakley on to talk about it. So I'm not going to go on a rant, but yeah, Lake James is a ton of fun, super clear water. A lot of fun catching fish deeper, being able
Just
to see
something
them
different,
well. It's just
man.
different. Yeah. Thoughts on Rick Clun fishing his $4.99 at 500 pro tournaments? I think it's awesome.
I think it's fantastic.
It's a long time.
I mean, dude, I watched him catch a fish today. They did a replay. I didn't watch live because I was at work, but I watched him catch a fish today in a square bill. It was like chartreuse colored square bills crankbait. And just like he's so calm about everything. And the fish wasn't even hooked in the mouth. It was like snagged under the face. And he's just working around the boat, sits down in the driver's seat, grabs the line, which everyone tells you don't grab the line. As long as you keep tension, it'll be good. And he just scoops it, doesn't even talk, and does his thing. And I'm just like, man, all that. I mean, he has more experience in fishing than I do on this earth almost. That's crazy. That's unreal.
I mean, he
You know
does
what I
have
mean?
more
I mean, he
experience.
He does have more experience.
He started
fishing.
fishing in the 70s, and you weren't born until the 80s, bro.
I wish I would have grown up in the 70s. Am I right? You know what I mean? So, but still, like, it's amazing to see that man do what he does, still gets out there, competes. It doesn't matter. Like, he's not a scoper, but he's doing what he loves to do. And I give him all the
Where
credit.
is he on the GOAT list? For Ben, he was the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Clun was the GOAT for Ben. So he's definitely always going to be in that conversation.
He's on the Mount Rushmore.
Who's on vacation in Dale Holler? Is that Josh?
No, that's Tony.
Tony?
Are you down there checking out the MLF event?
Yeah, I know Josh Watkins from the MPFL went up there.
You know what's funny about that event is they've basically permanently suspended James Watson, and he still finished one place behind Boyd Duckett. Didn't even fish.
With that,
Love you, James. Hope you're doing well, bud.
Oh.
We're doing good, Tony. I hope you're doing good too, man. Hey, Chelsea. Hope you're ready for tomorrow. I know you were rigging
Yep,
tackle
good
and
luck,
getting stuff
good
ready
luck.
to go. Jordan should hopefully be
Better today.
better than it was today. I'm sure it will be now that we're getting out of this front. But why are you laughing, bro? I'm just pointing out facts.
He was dead last. I was asking Mike Johns, like, oh, where's he at? And he's like, oh, he's last.
Did you guys catch Justin Hamner smearing scent attractant on his jerk baits? Any opinion? Yeah, that's bait fuel stick. It's great.
Yeah.
I love bait fuel. It's like my secret trick on bedfish. It's not. People get mad because they're like, it doesn't smell or taste like anything, and I put it on and it doesn't just catch fish. It's not like that. Like what I like about bait fuel is when they pick up, they hold on to it.
I'm gonna say Copenhagen.
That used to be my go-to scent.
So like
you've seen how wet I
Yeah,
get my
so-
line. Imagine when I used to
yeah.
always have a big ripper
He
in.
doesn't wet his line. He like dissolves it in saliva. It's so gross, makes me want to throw up. But still, like, back in the day when I used to chew like Redman and like what was the other one, Levi
That's cool,
Garrett
Tony.
and stuff, I used to like spit on my lure for like good luck or whatever. But I don't chew anymore. I'm just a zinner now.
Hey,
Um,
Nick, easy with that coffee stuff.
But like like bait fuel, I don't have any of the bait pop stuff. But I know Scott Martin's really big into that bait pop stuff. I mean, obviously he's going to promote it.
So that's more of a
But
facing sonar then.
well, it is, but it also has a scent to it. It's like a paste, right? That he rubs on like his what are those things called from Guggen? The
Bandito bugs.
the Bandito bugs. Yep, he rubs it on there and like he swears by it. But I mean, use whatever works for you guys.
Gerald
Coffee.
Swindle just put a video from practice where he had chapstick and bait pop in his pocket, and as he was idling through one of the no wake zones, he thought he put chapstick on, and it wasn't chapstick. Apparently, it does not taste good, and he does not recommend using it as an alternative to
He
chapstick.
should have got down there in the water and put his lips up to the forward fishing sonar.
CB's hog sauce, yeah. I mean, scent definitely has
Here's the one thing about
See you, buddy.
scent.
its place.
You don't
Later on,
want
bro.
you don't want an oil-based scent.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, oil and water does not mix. So if it's just an oil-based scent, then it's not diffusing in the water. So
Yeah, I think is bait fuel the only one that's a water-based scent?
no, there's other water.
No, there's other water-based scent.
Water soluble.
I don't know.
Random question. What year did y'all start the one cast? So we started last year,
2023.
January.
You want to finish my sandwiches?
Sandwiches?
The paperwork on the, for the state says
that's
June
a
or
great
whatever, but
that's a great question.
What's up, Andrew?
We talked about it, and then we just said, you know what? If we build it, they will hopefully come and watch a show and stuff like that.
I'll be completely honest. I never imagined there would be people talking to us on a live or listening to our show.
Pete's dad told me this story the other day. We were fishing. Pete had to drop his dad off into my boat because he had to go take care of some administrative stuff. And,
I had to do my taxes because I like to wait till the last minute.
yeah.
I'll put it out there.
So Pete's
oh my god.
Pete's dad was talking about how proud he is of all his children, which is awesome to hear. And I was like, "You're proud of Pete?" No, I'm just kidding. But anyways,
That's news to me.
one of a couple Pete's childhood dreams was to own a fishing show. And so that a fishing show is relative now. Could be YouTube channel, could be podcast, could be on the outdoors channel, whatever. So Pete's got a fishing show now, dude. So
I do,
super
yeah.
proud of that, So yeah, man. January of 2023. That's when we started.
Chelsea said he's proud of his daughter-in-law. Yep, you're definitely the favorite. So.
Absolutely.
Pete, I know a good accountant. I might need that accountant, David, because I like.
I might need that accountant.
Yeah, Trey needs to sue the IRS if you're listening. No, I'm just kidding.
I wish I could. Somebody else want to do my I'm just kidding. My wife does our taxes, but
we might have to talk, Dave, when you come down. It's going to be absolutely on fire when you get here in 2 weeks, brother.
David, I'm looking
have a
forward to it,
blast.
man.
We're
I'll
looking
be on the
forward.
water with you.
Looking forward to getting out there. I'll only get out probably Saturday, but I'm looking forward to it, man.
I quit my job.
We're gonna go. Yeah, Trey. Wait, what? No, just, basically.
I quit my job for David.
Yeah, we're looking forward. So she'll be down in a couple weeks.
Sweet.
Oh, okay. So that's the accountant. Well, good. I guess I can talk.
Hey,
Accountant.
let's talk about the giveaway real quick before we end this show.
Lord have mercy. Peter is on one today. What did I do now?
Don't get into it with your wife on the show.
I just wondered, was it the Boyd Duckett thing?
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
so check it out, guys. We've already done our.
Did you talk about the giveaway?
We've already talked about. Dang it, Pete. We've already done our first giveaway, which was in the month of March. So if you have not went to either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube, whatever, and left us a review and sent a screenshot to any of us on the One Cast or our official socials, please do so that you can get entered into the giveaway. We just gave away a cash-in chatterbait rod and One Cast Fishing snagless bladed jigs. And that went to Randy Walker, right? So congratulations again, Randy. At the end of April, we're going to be doing our second giveaway. So make sure you guys go to any of those platforms I just talked about, leave a review, send a screenshot to us, and then we will get you entered into that. And it kind of goes into like that little Wheel of Fortune thing. So when we do it at the end of April, we're going to run it the same way. Pete's going to do 2 spins of the wheel to make sure that you guys know it's not rigged in any way, shape, or form. And then on that 3rd spin, that's when that's going to be the recipient of the 2nd month of our 5-month giveaway.
Hold on, let me pull the list up. I don't remember.
Pete's going to pull the list up because he's on one today. Chelsea said,
"Yeah, I'm on one today." Whatever that means.
So the second giveaway.
Oh, we have.
So we got a Lowrance Hook Reveal 7 and a Carolina Waters prize pack.
So that Carolina Waters prize pack, after talking to our friends over there, is going to be a gift card equivalent for shirt, hat. So that way you can pick size and style you want, and we're not having to do exchanges or anything like that. So Lowrance Hook Reveal 7 fish finder and a Carolina Waters prize pack for our second giveaway. So make sure you head to pick on the 3rd one. Yeah. Make sure you head over to, if you click that link tree that I posted in there, if you haven't done it yet, there's links to all of those places. You can just click on one and go leave a review, screenshot it, send it to us, get entered if you're not already. If you've already done it, if you want to go to another and leave us another review, that's awesome, but you're entered. You don't have to do it again. So absolutely, Cody, make sure you go leave a review so you can get in on it. Boys, anything else you want to mention before we sign off here for the night? Because I'm hungry.
No.
I'm getting tired. I'm ready to hit the water in the morning. So
that's right.
Yep, we're gonna go out in the morning and chase them around Sharon Harris. So if you're in the area and you want to holler at us, if you're gonna be out there, we'll be make sure it's that 5-star. It doesn't have to be 5-star. I want you to be honest. I appreciate you saying
1 star.
preferably 5-star.
Preferably 5-star.
And if it's 1-star, explain why.
Yeah, explain why.
Pete will go ballistic.
I'll go ballistic.
Guys, have a great weekend. We appreciate all your support. Help us continue to grow a culture of anglers helping anglers one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.